you've been trying the carnivore diet and feel it's not working, you're probably failing for some common myths. The myths about the carnivore diet is something that is so common and something that is so misunderstood. There are myths that holding you back, making it harder to see the real benefits of the diet. The carnivore diet is something that I will break down every 5 myths that keep you from real progress on the carnivore diet. And myth number 1 is that people often say without veggies and other food groups, the carnivore diet leads to nutrition deficit. And that is something that many talks about when it comes to the carnivore diet, that you lack of nutrition when it comes to veggies and fruits, because that is something that is the most and the best thing that you can eat. And the concern is that cutting out veggies will leave you lacking in essential vitamins and minerals. And it often is talked about that as well, that it's so important that you are going to almost die if you're not eating all those fruits and veggies. And that is the best thing that you can do. But does the carnivore diet really lack the nutrition? Or is it just an assumption? Is that something that people just assuming that if you cut the carbs, is the diet then not beneficial for you at all? And the argument for eating fruits and vegetables is rooted in getting essential vitamins and minerals. That is something that often is talked about as well, but you need to eat it. But animal-based foods like beef, liver, eggs, provide all those essential nutrients in high absorbable forms. So you will get all those kind of nutrients when you are eating only meat, because it has so much vitamins inside it. And for example, liver is packed with A vitamin, and meat provides B12 and iron, and even some vitamin C that many talks about, that vitamin is the thing that is lacking when you are, and it probably is the most important vitamin of all if you listen to some people, and that is the most important vitamin that you can't live without. People claim that you need fiber from vegetables, but many on the carnivore diet reports better digestion without it. And that is an interesting thing, that fiber is so important that you can't live without it, and you can't lose weight without the fiber in the diet. And we see many carnivore that has eaten carnivore diet for ages that's can live without the fiber and have a fully functional body without the fiber. And critics says eliminating food groups long term could cause problems, but there's no evidence of that from those on the diet for years. Many have been eating carnivore for 15, 17 years. The longest I've heard is 20 years, someone who has eaten for that amount of time. And now that we have tackled the nutrition myth, let's talk about another big misconception. And myth number 2 is that the carnivore diet raises cholesterol and heart disease risk. Another major concern is that eating all of this meat will raise your cholesterol and put your heart at risk, that you will get some disease from this. And that is something that I've heard a lot, that so much meat will destroy your everything inside yourself, including your heart, will stop. People are scared of the idea that saturated fat from red meat will clog their arteries. But if we break this down, what actually happened to the cholesterol on this diet? Yes, of course, cholesterol levels can go up, but the important thing is which cholesterol is rising, because it's a different kind of cholesterol that is more dangerous, and some cholesterol that even is good for you, that it should be raised. And we have 2 kinds of cholesterol: the larger, fluffier LDL particles are less dangerous, and on the carnivore diet, these tend to increase. So this large and fluffier LDL is something that is good for us. That its race is nothing that is an issue at all. And inflammation markers like CRP often go down on this diet, which is a more important sign of heart health. So when you have tried this diet, what you can do if you want to try to go to an hospital and do a real an analyze of your blood, and then after a while you can do it again and see the difference in what has happened. And I'm not a doctor at all. I have done different tests, and that is something that I really encourage you to do, so you can get help from professionals. Some people still argue that any cholesterol increase is bad, but studies show that improvements in heart health markers from low carb, high fat dieters. So a lot of studies show that this is the diet that can help you to feel better in the long run. So higher cholesterol is on this diet doesn't mean you're at higher risk for heart disease. In fact, you could be improving your heart health. And now that we have busted the cholesterol myth, let's move on to the energy issues. Because myth number 3, you won't have enough energy on the carnivore diet. People assume that without carbs, they feel drained of energy, especially when exercising. That is something that is so interesting, because I have run a half marathon and practiced for that on a low carb diet, and I know that you will get so much more energy when you are training on a low carb diet. When it's race, it's a different thing. You can add sugars and carbs just to get that initial boost in that case when you are competing. And I have done it. I have run for hours without any carbs, and I can tell you that it's better to run without carbs than with carbs. And we have been told for years that carbs are the body's main source of energy. And is that really right? Is that correct? That the main source for energy is that the carb is the natural source for the energy. So how does the carnivore diet really impact the energy levels inside your body? The belief that without carbs you crash, but that's not what happened on this diet, because we have seen so many different people that are talking about that they are getting more energy levels, me myself included. I have been on a low carb diet for on and off for maybe 14-15 years, and this year I've tried carnivore diet, and that is something I never felt better than before. So this is a diet that really has increased my energy levels. And without your body adapts to using fat for its primary fuel, a state known as ketosis. So that is something that the body is adapting to burn fat for fuel instead of carbs. And when your body burns fat for energy, it actually leads to more stable energy throughout the day. And I can really talk about that, because that is something that is so interesting. When you're eating, for instance, scrambled egg and bacon for breakfast, that is none to a couple of grams of carbs, and my energy levels when it comes to lunch is almost flat. I feel almost no hunger at all, and that is something that is so calming and healing for yourself, because you get no more carb crashes and no carb spikes or crashes. Instead, you will get constant energy. And that is something that I feel a lot when I eat this diet, is that I have constant energy levels. And some athletes have even shown that they can perform at high high level ones, they fully adapt to ketosis, and that is a weapon that many athletes has tried and see the benefits of this. While some say you need carbs for intense exercise, others have proven it's not necessary once the body has adjusted to this diet. And so the idea that you won't have enough energy without carbs is just another myth. You'll actually have more consistent energy once your body is adjusted to the carnivore diet. With the energy myth out of the way, let's talk about sustainability. Because myth number 4, the carnivore diet is unsustainable in long term. People argue that the carnivore diet is too restrictive to maintain over time. And we have people that have eaten this diet for years, up to 20, 30 years have eaten it. I myself have eaten it for almost 11 months, and I feel that for each day that goes by, I feel it's easier and easier to eat this. And the people that will think that you eventually give in to cravings for carbs on other foods. But is the carnivore diet really hard to stick to in the long term? Many believe that you need variety to stay satisfied, but the simplicity of the carnivore diet is actually its strength. And I can't address this enough, because the simplicity of the diet is something that is so easy, and becomes so easy to eat on this diet, because you will never run out of ideas, and it's so easy to just pick whatever you like and just eat it. You don't need to, and the speed of cooking, for instance, a dinner is something that is unbelievable, because you only can take ground beef and stir it together and add some spices and maybe some cream cheese, and you eat that, and it tastes wonderful each time. And without processed food and carbs, cravings for unhealthy foods tends to disappear. And that is something that is so true. When you eat this diet, you will have energy levels, and the insulin is at the right place, and you feel that you have everything in place. Eating nutrition-dense, sautéing food like steaks and eggs keep you fuller for longer, and we have talked about that a lot. You get fuller on this diet, and you feel that everything becomes so much better. And people on crash diets often feel deprivated, but on the carnivore diet, you feel satisfied and energized for a longer period of time. It might seem restrictive at first, but those who stick with it find it much more easier than they first thought. And that was my start as well. When I started the carnivore diet, I felt that this was so hard. It should be so hard to eat only meat. It was something that felt so far away to skip the sandwiches, the bread, the pasta, and everything that is included in the American standard diet. But many long-term followers report that they don't miss other foods and love the simplicity of the meals. And so while the carnivore diet might seem restrictive at first, it's actually more sustainable than you may think. Simplicity and satisfaction makes it easier to maintain long term. And now that we have handled the sustainability issues, let's talk about fear of losing muscle on this diet. Because myth number 5 is that the carnivore diet leads to muscle loss. A common concern is that cutting out carbs leads to muscle loss, especially for those who work out regularly. People think that you need carbs to build and maintain muscles. But how true is that? That argument comes from the idea that carbs are needed for glycogen storage in the muscles. You need the carbs to add muscle gain. But the truth is that protein and fat are more than enough to support muscle growth and maintenance. So you can skip carbs and build muscles without the carbs. You just eat bacon, meat, and eggs. On the carnivore diet, protein intake is often higher than on the typical carb-heavy diets, and you will get as much as 2 or maybe 2.5 grams of protein each per kilo each day. So that is something that's really high, and on an American standard diet you will get a lot less of the protein. So, and the protein is something that is important to eat if you want to stay healthy overall, if you're not having an interest in building muscle. And some worry that without carbs recovery will take longer, but those who adapt to it, fat burning, report no issues with muscle recovery. And I've read about some that feel that they never get any issues after training or get sore after training for like they had been before when they ate carbs. But you should also remember it takes time for your body to adjust to the carnivore diet. So the fear of losing muscles on the carnivore diet is unfounded. With the right approach, you can build and maintain muscles just fine. And now we have debunked these myths. We'll talk about the 5 myths is about the carnivore diet is nutrition deficit, cholesterol, energy, sustainability, and muscle loss aren't true. And if by busting these myths, you can focus on what really works for your health and your fitness, and trying out the carnivore diet and see how you like it. And if you're interested in seeing more of these kind of videos, press this video. I will help you more about the questions you have on the carnivore diet.